Hi, it's Warren Huart here. Hope you're doing marvelously well. As ever, please subscribe. Go to producelikeapro.com, sign up for the email list. You can try a free 14-day trial of the Academy, which is awesome. So many great people in there. I'm having a blast doing that. You get to download every month a new session and mix it. It's fantastic. And of course, if you just sign up for the email list, you'll get a whole bunch of free goodies as well. So what is exciting about this episode? What is exciting is this. I've got 3 different mic pre-compressors from a company called SKNote. During the winter, I went to AES this year in New York, and I met Quinto from SKNote, and he showed me these mic pre-compressors. Why do I like these? Well, I haven't heard them yet. What do I like about them? I like about them is that they are 250 euros. The power supply is 100 euros. So at 350, that's about $400 to $500 for a mic pre-compressor. However, the power supply will power 8 individual ones of these, so you don't have to buy it once. So there's 3 different ones. This one's called an RP2A, which I am guessing is an LA2A. I'm not sure if they're allowed to say that, but I am. Next up is a RP165, which is kind of one of my favorites. This is a DBX 165. Let's say emulation. It has the same controls, so that's fantastic. We'll get to hear that in a second. And last, but no means least, is an old favorite of ours, the RP6, which has very similar controls to the 1176. So here we have 3 lovely mic pre-compressors that are very inexpensive. A lot of you have been asking me about them, so I'm excited to try it out, and we will try them on all kinds of different sources and see how they sound. So I'm going to try out the 165 and the LA2 emulations, and see what they sound like. Try them on a couple of sources. We can do an acoustic guitar and a DI electric just for fun. And the great thing about it is they're going to let us give one of these 3 away. So you get to choose which one you want. As usual, do the raffle. You'll see all the information below. So go away and enter to win one of these lovely beauties. And we're also going to give away the power supply, which is great. Because the power supply is a separate, like 100 euros, but it powers 8 of these units. So once you've got that power supply and you like it, you can keep buying them and adding to it. So I'm very impressed with this. Thank you ever so much, SKNote, for sending us these so we can try out. And more importantly, to give one of them away to one of you lovely people. So let's go and check it all out. Great, so this is the power supply. Let's check this out before we do anything. Pretty substantial. Yes, it has 8 outputs on the back, so it can power 8 of these units. Yeah, it's got some weight to it, which is always nice. Very simple, kettle plug on the back. I think in England we call them Euro plugs. They call them just kettle over here. But anyway, so quite straightforward, substantial power supply, 8 outputs, so it can power 8 of these little babies. So we're going to plug it in. So here's the power cable. Power works. Okay, great. Here is the cable to power up. We'll just do one at a time. So there's 3 cables here, obviously. And let's grab the first one. Here is the power input on the back of this. See here. So the output here is a balanced 1/4 inch. So here we have a balanced 1/4 inch. Plug it in. Okay, so I'm going to try a couple of things. First of all, I'm just going to plug a DI in from a guitar and see how that works. Power this up. There you go, the red light goes on. So we're going to come in the mic input and go through this DI. So, nice. So it looks like it's got enough power to pretty much drive it. What I like about this, and I was thinking about this after going to Taylor Locke's place, where Taylor was talking about how he likes to compress going into amps. So this is like using this as a front-end compressor is really kind of nice. If I bring the attack back so it's super fast, it'll only come on when smashed. I've actually got it on limit at the moment. Look at that. That's on limit. Kind of like DI compressor. I mean, you have to be selective where you use a sound like that, but for like a super clean. Okay, so the way I've got this set up is I'm coming out of the guitar, I'm going into a DI box, I'm coming out of a balanced mic output into the mic input on here. It doesn't have an instrument input, it only has a line input, so you'll need a DI box to be able to run a guitar into it if you want to get any kind of level. I love a clean compressed guitar. We were talking to Taylor Locke a couple of weeks ago. He compresses the guitar signal going in. So it's made me think of going like this first of all. So here we are, we're starting with the RP165A, which is the DBX simulation. Now, it's got all the same controls I'd expect to see on a 165. It's got the auto function, which of course makes it sound like a 160. I like doing this. This is what Brian Kohlstrom did a lot on like the Alice in Chains records and stuff, what Dave Jordan used to do, and of course what Taylor Locke was telling us about a couple of weeks ago, is they like to compress their signal before going to an amp. So we could come out and go to an amp. But that clean compressed sound, I mean, if I crank this output. I've got the attack set all the way to the fastest, the release I can put to the fastest too. Go to a lot gentler compression all the way down to 2 to 1. Get a lot more output. If I go more aggressive, somewhere in the middle, 12 to 1. Slow down the release time. I don't know if all of you will be using it this way, but it's kind of cool. So if I'm going to put on the, let us go the FUTS box, which is the Mac DSP. We can choose, let's go for a preset, Buckethead. So here's the FUTS box. I kind of like it. I mean, it's not the number one application to do this, but it sounds pretty darn good. I'm going to try some different sounds here. General. See, there's a real weird distortion and crazy, messed up airline headphones, just all kinds of weird things that you can do with it. Little boy's room. God knows what it is. All right, so all kinds of crazy kind of stuff with the using a distortion. We can go and select a lot more obvious ones. Let's have a look on our RTAS here. So it's kind of cool using it as a guitar DI on the input. The general sound is great. I mean, if I was going to use that for pretty much anything, I'd be very happy. So let's try a mic on acoustic guitar. So a couple of things. It's Phantom. Yay! Powered up. So that's great. So we can power a mic. I'm going to put this about 12 to 14th like I normally do. About here. Put it into record. Nice. Kind of like this all in one. It does feel like I'm going to put the release time super fast. Turning the input up really high. Take this off. I can definitely hear the compression coming in probably a little too early. It's not so bad on these runs. Nice on arpeggios. Yeah, it's nice. Quite a bit of spankiness to it, I like it. I will say that it doesn't have the hugest amount of gain, so it's going to have a relatively high output mic. I mean, that's distorting there, so I can bring the output down. But I like it. I mean, I like recording with some compression on it, I'll be honest. I could definitely use this quite easily. I just have to be careful when I'm using something with lots of compression. I mean, I'm getting 6 dB there, hitting 9 occasionally. So let's do something. Let's try an acoustic guitar part and then we'll flip it out for different ones. I've got the fastest release time, the fastest attack time. I'm on, let's go to like 8 to 1. So here we go. So occasionally it's giving me like 3 dBs worth of gain reduction. So yeah, we're getting around about 3 dBs worth of gain reduction. Now, bearing in mind, we're using this for mic pre and compression, not just as a compressor. Cool, so let's try recording a little bit. There's the riff that everybody always tells me I play. Did you notice the riff? Okay, cool. I like it. Sounds great. I'm going to flip it out for a different one here. All right, next up is the RP2A, guessing LA2A. Going to set it to comp. Kind of like how this one sounds. I'm not an expert on LA2As. I use an LA2A occasionally on vocals, sometimes on electric guitars. It feels good. As far as gain reduction, you've basically got compression or limit. Obviously a lot more aggressive on limit. Push the input up. Take the output down a little bit so it's not overdriving. I like this. I mean, I like it a lot. I think this might be my favorite for just the most basic, does everything, because it's got all these different modes here. We're on F. Let's have a listen. E. Subtle differences here. Going through them all. A sounds softer on the attack. F, maybe more aggressive. Have to go to the manual and see what it says. And we just had a quick look at the manual, and they are kind of what we anticipated. It's sort of slower, old school, to faster attack and releases here. And then here, much slower. So it's kind of... all the way over here. Transients. It's definitely a lot smoother on the far left. It's probably the release time. Let's go right to the fastest one. It's funny, I hear that grabbing it really quickly. If you go to that super fast one, you get that very attack. Which has the appearance of sounding a little brighter on acoustic. Because you hear the attack, you go to the old school one and it's warmer sounding. So, you know, and there's all the variations in between. Somewhere in the middle. It's kind of nice. That is on C, so that might be nice for acoustics. Now, with variable attack and release times, obviously these are fixed. You know, it's probably something you just want to figure out what works best for your song. But in whole, these have been really fantastic. The thing about these that's great is they're inexpensive. And if you buy the power supply, it basically means you can run 8 of these and you can have different compressors with your mic pre's. Now, there's not a huge amount of gain on it, easily enough for most dynamic microphones, especially electric guitars, for vocals. We can pull out for a vocal here. And this is an LCT 550, which does have quite a lot of gain, I'll be honest. It's not a loud output at all. If I just lean into it for a second. La, la. So I'm getting quite a lot of input there. So I can bring the input down. Still printing pretty healthy there. So I think from most instruments it's going to be great. But definitely not as much gain as you would have on a, you know, a 1073 or something. But 1, 2, easily enough for most vocalists. Enough for the acoustic guitar here, although I was cranking it a little bit more. I could put a DI of a bass through it. That might be kind of nice. Let's have a listen with the DI on the bass. So we're going to use the DI box here, and we're going to go through into the line input, the line input, not an instrument input, but the line input here, and have a listen to what a bass sounds like through it. So here I think I'm going through a DI box with an instrument. There's not a lot of gain here. Going to bypass. On limit. So I think this is the only thing for me, is just not that much gain. So it's interesting. I think that that's really kind of the only thing. It doesn't have a huge amount of gain, you know, compared with some mic pre's. However, it sounds really good for vocals, electric guitars and stuff like that. With a mic, you're going to have no problem. I don't think you're going to have a problem using this as a passive Mexican bass. I think you can still use it, but it just doesn't have as much gain as, you know, maybe a 1073. But the point is, this is 250 euros, which is, like I was saying, a little bit over 300 bucks. And as a compressor, and you use a different mic pre, it's still a bargain. You know, an 1176 is going to cost you, even a warm one is going to cost you the same price as this. And of course, they also make a 165, an LA2A, and the 1176. You've got lots of choices here. So I think it is extremely good value for money. For a full drum kit, if I got 8 of these and put it on a drum kit, pretty tasty to be able to have a mic pre and compressor on every single channel for the price of, you know, one really nice mic pre. Because, you know, these are say $400, $350. You know, 7 of those, what are we talking about? 2,400 bucks with this, $2,500. Sorry, 8 of those, about $2,500, which is the price of one really nice 1073. And I'm doing a full drum kit. So, and it's got a compressor on each one. So arguably incredible value for money. I'm really impressed with the value for money. And of course, the best thing about them is they're giving one of these. We can give one of these for free with the power supply. So you're going to get to choose whether you want the LA2 or the 165. I'm going to have Quinto send us another 1176, so you could have an 1176 as well. So it's a bargain. So go in, you know, enter the raffle. As ever, you know to do all the wonderful things that you can to win this. And thank you ever so much for watching. I definitely think these are really great value for money and simple, easy to use. And, you know, I put this all the way around my drum kit and just have mics go into a mic panel, make it super, super easy. you know, when you run shorter length cables. You could do all kinds of things for it, but just a quick, easy thing. It's very built, designed, you know, specifically designed and built specifically just to be one unit that you could use. Obviously, everything's piled up on here, but I could have this just close to me. So pretty tasty, very simple, very inexpensive. So thanks for checking out the review on the SKNote mic pre-compressors. I was really impressed with them. I love the functions. I love the fact that they're emulating those great compressors that we know and love. The opto selection, where you can hear the difference in the attack and release times on the LA2 simulation, the RP2 was really, really nice. I do think that there's not as much gain as there would be on a lot of mic pre's, like the standard kind of 1073s and 312s. However, those are a lot more expensive, and in this price range, there's definitely as much gain as anything else. There's a great compressor emulations. They're also great, simple, great sounding mic pre's for most applications. And if once you get that one power supply, you can power 8 of these things. And as I was saying earlier, I could put this around a drum kit and have compression and mic pre on every single one. So pretty fantastic. I love finding these kind of inexpensive things that we can work with. Thank you ever so much for watching. Thank you, SKNote, for letting us give one of these away for free. You can choose any one of these 3 in our competition, and you get the power supply as well. So as ever, please go down below, click on the raffle link below, enter it. The more times you enter, the more things that you do to enter, like tweet, Facebook like, all kinds of fun stuff like that. You'll get more and more raffle tickets and more chances to enter. As ever, please subscribe, go to producelikeapro.com, sign up for the email list and get a bunch of free stuff, and try out our 14-day free trial of the Academy. Thank you for watching. You guys rock. Have a marvelous time recording and mixing.